As we stand at the edge of 2025, let us pause for a moment not to rush into the future, but to breathe deeply in the present. The year ahead is not some distant reality to be conquered, but an unfolding now moment waiting to be realized. You see, the future isn't something to fear or control, it is a playful extension of this very moment. Let us let go of our tight grip on the illusion of control and instead embrace the rhythm of life, trusting that the path forward will reveal itself as we walk it. The journey to embracing the 2025 mindset begins with a simple yet profound truth: the future is nothing more than an extension of this very moment. All too often we fixate on the horizon, imagining that our happiness, success, or fulfillment lies somewhere out there in the distant reaches of time. Yet in doing so, we overlook the reality that the seeds of everything we hope for are already planted here and now. The present moment is not a stepping stone, it is the foundation. The canvas upon which all that is to come will be painted. Pause and consider this: when we live with one foot in the future, we rob ourselves of the vitality of the present. The 2025 mindset invites us to shift our perspective, to understand that the only way to craft a meaningful future is to pour ourselves wholeheartedly into the now. Life is not a linear race from point A to point B, nor is it a problem to be solved. It is, in its essence, a flowing experience, a series of moments to be lived, savored, and embraced. The future is not a static destination, it is a living, breathing process unfolding in tandem with our choices, our actions, and most importantly, our awareness. But to fully embody this mindset, we must release ourselves from the illusion of control. How often do we exhaust ourselves trying to manipulate outcomes, striving to bend the world to fit our desires? Yet, like trying to grasp water with clenched fists, the tighter we hold, the less we truly have. The year ahead will not unfold according to a rigid script, nor should it. The beauty of life lies in its unpredictability, in the way it flows and twists, offering us challenges and opportunities that we could never have foreseen. To resist this flow is to invite frustration, to align with it is to discover freedom. When we let go of control, something magical happens. We begin to see life for what it truly is: a grand cosmic play. Every interaction, every event, every triumph and setback becomes part of a larger dance, one that we are both participants in and witnesses to. The 2025 mindset reminds us that life is not a series of problems to solve or obstacles to overcome, but a rhythm to move with. When we see ourselves not as solitary individuals struggling against the tide, but as integral parts of a harmonious whole, we unlock a profound sense of belonging and purpose. Of course, stepping into the unknown can be daunting. The human mind craves certainty, yet the future offers none. This uncertainty, however, is not something to fear, it is a source of infinite potential. Imagine if the next year were entirely predictable, how dull and lifeless it would seem. It is the very uncertainty of 2025 that makes it exciting, a blank canvas brimming with possibility. When we embrace this uncertainty, we transform fear into curiosity, hesitation into courage. Instead of clinging to the familiar, we learn to dance with the unknown, trusting that each step will reveal itself as we take it. And this trust is vital. Trust in the process of becoming, in the natural unfolding of life. Consider a tree: it does not rush its growth, nor does it worry about whether it will bear fruit. It simply grows inch by inch, day by day, reaching toward the sun with quiet confidence. In the same way, we too are always in the process of becoming. Every experience we encounter, every choice we make contributes to our growth, even when the path seems unclear. The 2025 mindset asks us to step away from the rigid expectations we place upon ourselves and instead lean into the flow of life. It is an invitation to trust not blindly, but with an open heart and a curious mind, and to trust that we are exactly where we need to be, even if we cannot see the full picture. To trust that the challenges we face are not barriers, but stepping stones. To trust that life, in all its complexity and beauty, is guiding us towards something greater than we can imagine. So, as we stand at the threshold of a new year, let us not fixate on what might be or what could have been. Let us instead immerse ourselves fully in the present moment, for it is here, in the now, that the future begins. Life is not waiting for us out there, it is happening right here, right now. And when we embrace this truth, when we live with awareness, trust, and an open heart, we step into the flow of life with grace and purpose. This is the essence of the 2025 mindset, not a goal to be achieved, but a way of being to be lived. Releasing the illusion of control is perhaps one of the most liberating and transformative shifts you can make as you embrace the 2025 mindset. For much of our lives, we are conditioned to believe that control is synonymous with power, that if we just plan meticulously, push harder, or strategize more effectively, we can dictate the outcomes of our lives. But this illusion is precisely what keeps us trapped, anxious, overburdened, and disconnected from the natural flow of life. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. It is vast and intricate, a web of interconnected forces that no individual can fully comprehend or manipulate. When we insist on controlling every aspect of our journey, we position ourselves against this natural flow, like someone trying to dam a river with their bare hands. The result? Frustration, exhaustion, and a persistent sense of dissatisfaction. Yet, paradoxically, it is in letting go of control that we discover true freedom and power, the power to move with life rather than against it. Imagine for a moment that life is like a river. The current carries you forward, sometimes gently, sometimes with great force. You can fight against it, thrashing and struggling to move upstream, or you can surrender to the current, allowing it to carry you while you steer lightly, adjusting your course as needed. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up, it means recognizing that the river knows its way. It means trusting that the flow of life will take you where you need to go, even if the path isn't what you expected. This is not an easy lesson to internalize, especially in a world that glorifies control, planning, and certainty. We are taught to measure our worth by how much we can achieve, how many variables we can master, and how flawlessly we can predict and shape our future. But let's be honest, how often do our plans unfold exactly as we envisioned? How many times have unexpected twists and turns brought us to places far more meaningful and enriching than anything we could have planned? Letting go of control is not about passivity, it is about alignment. It is about listening to the rhythms of life, recognizing opportunities as they arise, and responding with intention rather than resistance. When we let go of the need to control every outcome, we free ourselves to focus on what truly matters, the present moment. We become more attuned to our instincts, more open to possibilities, and more resilient in the face of challenges. The fear of losing control often stems from a deeper fear, the fear of uncertainty. As humans, we are wired to seek stability and predictability, yet the reality of life is anything but stable or predictable. And that's a good thing. Uncertainty is not a threat, it is a canvas for creation. It is the space where growth happens, where new ideas are born, and where transformation takes root. If everything was certain and predetermined, life would lose its magic, its spontaneity, its capacity to surprise and delight us. Embracing uncertainty requires a shift in mindset, a willingness to see the unknown not as a void, but as a realm of infinite potential. Think of all the greatest moments in your life. How many of them were meticulously planned? How many came out of nowhere, surprising you with their beauty or significance? The 2025 mindset invites you to approach the year ahead with this sense of openness, to welcome the unexpected as an integral part of your journey. This openness also cultivates a profound sense of trust in yourself, trust in life, and trust in the process of becoming. Trust is not about blind faith, it is about recognizing that you have everything you need within you to navigate whatever comes your way. It is about understanding that life, in all its complexity and unpredictability, is inherently wise. Just as a seed knows how to grow into a tree, you too are guided by an inner wisdom, a natural unfolding that you don't need to micromanage or control. When you let go of control, you create space for flow. You become like a surfer riding the waves, not trying to tame the ocean, but working in harmony with its power. This harmony allows you to move forward with grace and ease, unburdened by the weight of unrealistic expectations. It allows you to experience life fully, to engage with it as it is rather than as you think it should be. So as you step into 2025, ask yourself, what would it feel like to release the need to control? What would it look like to trust the flow of life, to embrace the unknown, and to align yourself with the natural rhythms of existence? This is the invitation of the 2025 mindset, a chance to live not from a place of fear or force, but from a place of openness, trust, and flow. Life, at its core, is a dynamic interplay of contrasts, certainty and uncertainty, structure and spontaneity, the known and the unknown. The 2025 mindset asks us to step into this dance with open arms, dissolving the fear that often accompanies the unknown. Fear, after all, is a natural response to uncertainty. It whispers in our minds, warning us of potential failure, rejection, or loss. But what if, instead of allowing fear to paralyze us, we used it as a guide, a signal that we are venturing into a realm of possibility and growth? The unknown is not the enemy. It is, in fact, the birthplace of all creation. Consider for a moment how every innovation, every masterpiece, and every life-changing experience begins in the space of uncertainty. When we cling to what is familiar and predictable, we confine ourselves to the limitations of what we already know. Growth, however, requires us to step into the unfamiliar, to explore new perspectives, ideas, and opportunities. The unknown is not a void, it is a field of infinite potential waiting for us to engage with it. But why does the unknown feel so intimidating? Much of this stems from our attachment to outcomes. We often measure success by how closely reality aligns with our expectations, and when it doesn't, we perceive this as failure. Yet the beauty of life lies in its unpredictability. When we let go of rigid expectations, we create space for the unexpected to unfold. This doesn't mean abandoning our goals or aspirations, rather, it means holding them lightly, allowing room for life to surprise us in ways we couldn't have imagined. And to navigate the unknown with grace, we must cultivate curiosity. Curiosity transforms fear into wonder, transforming the unknown from a threat into an opportunity. Think of a child exploring the world for the first time. They don't approach new experiences with trepidation, but with wide-eyed curiosity, eager to learn and grow. This same mindset can guide us as we face the uncertainties of 2025. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" we can ask, "What can I learn?" Instead of fearing the unfamiliar, we can embrace it as a chance to expand our understanding and experience. Trust also plays a pivotal role in embracing the unknown. Trust is not a blind leap, it is a quiet confidence in the unfolding of life. It is the recognition that while we cannot control everything, we are equipped to respond to whatever comes our way. This trust allows us to step forward even when the path is unclear, knowing that each step will reveal itself in time. Trusting the unknown is not about avoiding challenges or discomfort, it is about recognizing that these moments are integral to our journey. Think of the most meaningful moments in your life. How many of them came from situations you could not have planned or predicted? Perhaps it was an unexpected opportunity, a chance encounter, or a moment of clarity that arose during a period of uncertainty. These moments remind us that the unknown is not something to fear, but something to embrace. When we approach life with openness and trust, we allow ourselves to be surprised by its beauty and wisdom. The 2025 mindset also invites us to see the unknown as a mirror, reflecting back our deepest fears and desires. When we face uncertainty, we are confronted with our own limitations, insecurities, and doubts. But these moments also offer an opportunity for profound growth and self-discovery. They challenge us to confront what holds us back, to release what no longer serves us, and to step into the fullness of who we are becoming. And stepping into the unknown requires courage, but not the kind of courage that denies fear. It is the courage to feel the fear and move forward anyway, to trust that we are capable of navigating whatever lies ahead. It is the courage to let go of the need for control and certainty, to embrace life as it is, not as we wish it to be. As we look toward 2025, let us not shrink back from the unknown. Let us see it for what it truly is, an invitation to grow, to explore, and to create. Let us approach the year with curiosity, trust, and courage, knowing that the path will reveal itself as we walk it. The unknown is not a barrier, it is a gateway to possibility. And when we step through that gateway, we discover not only the world around us, but also the infinite potential within ourselves. And trusting the process of becoming is an act of faith in the unfolding of life itself. Too often we are conditioned to believe that progress must be visible, measurable, and immediate to be meaningful. We yearn for results, milestones, and validation. And when they don't arrive in the time frame we expect, we doubt ourselves, our path, and the very nature of the journey. But growth is not always linear, and it is rarely predictable. The 2025 mindset reminds us that becoming is not about rushing to a finish line, it is about allowing life to unfold in its own time, trusting that every step, whether it feels like progress or not, is part of a larger, beautiful process. And consider how nature operates. A seed does not sprout overnight, nor does a tree bear fruit immediately after it begins to grow. There are seasons of dormancy, seasons of growth, and seasons of harvest. Each phase is essential and cannot be rushed. Similarly, your growth, your dreams, and your aspirations are like seeds planted within you. They need time to take root, to draw nourishment from the soil of your experiences, and to grow strong enough to withstand the winds of life. Trusting the process means recognizing that even when you cannot see the fruits of your labor, important growth is happening beneath the surface. Yet trusting the process is not passive. It is not about sitting idly by, waiting for life to happen to you. Instead, it is an active engagement with the present moment, meeting each experience with openness and intention. It is about showing up every day, doing the work, and taking the steps even when you're unsure of where they will lead. It is about cultivating patience, resilience, and faith, knowing that each action you take is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Doubt, of course, will inevitably arise. There will be moments when the path feels unclear, when progress feels slow, and when the weight of uncertainty threatens to overshadow your faith. But these moments of doubt are not signs of failure, they are opportunities to deepen your trust in the process. They remind you to return to the present, to focus not on the distant outcome, but on the next right step. Each step, no matter how small, moves you forward, and as you look back, you will see how far you have come, not because you forced your way forward, but because you allowed the journey to unfold. The process of becoming also requires self-compassion. Growth can be messy, uncomfortable, and non-linear. There will be setbacks, missteps, and moments when you feel lost. But these experiences are not detours, they are integral parts of your journey. Just as a sculptor chisels away at a block of stone to reveal the masterpiece within, life uses these challenges to shape you, refine you, and bring out your truest self. Self-compassion allows you to embrace these moments with kindness, understanding that you are a work in progress, and that is perfectly okay. Trusting the process also means releasing the need for perfection. Perfection is an illusion, a moving target that only serves to keep us stuck. When we strive for perfection, we deny ourselves the joy of the present moment, constantly chasing an ideal that can never truly be attained. The 2025 mindset invites you to shift your focus from perfection to progress, from outcomes to experiences, and from fear to curiosity. Life is not about getting everything right, it is about learning, growing, and becoming more aligned with who you truly are. Perhaps most importantly, trusting the process means trusting yourself. It is about recognizing that you have everything you need within you to navigate the path ahead. You are more capable, resourceful, and resilient than you may realize. The challenges you face are not obstacles, but opportunities to tap into your inner strength, creativity, and wisdom. Each experience, no matter how difficult, is a stepping stone that prepares you for what lies ahead. As you step into 2025, remember that the process of becoming is not something you control or force, it is something you allow. It is a dance between effort and surrender, between doing and being. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Trust that life is working in your favor, even when the way forward seems unclear. Trust that every step you take, no matter how small, is leading you toward the person you are meant to become. The 2025 mindset is not about achieving a specific goal or reaching a certain destination. It is about embracing the journey, trusting the process, and finding meaning and purpose in every moment along the way. When you let go of the need to control, when you release your fears and doubts, and when you trust in the natural unfolding of life, you discover a deeper sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment. Becoming is not a destination, it is a way of being. And as you embody this mindset, you step into the flow of life with grace, resilience, and an unshakable trust in the beauty of your journey. Life is an ever-unfolding process, a dance of becoming that moves us through the highs and lows of existence, revealing new dimensions of who we are with every step. To fully embrace the 2025 mindset, it is essential to recognize that you are always on the path, even when the way forward seems obscured. The path is not something external to be found, it is something internal that you create with every choice, every thought, and every action. And trusting that you are exactly where you need to be even when it feels uncertain or challenging is the cornerstone of aligning with the flow of life. Often we are tempted to measure our progress by external markers, titles, achievements, possessions, or milestones. These are not inherently bad, but they can lead us to believe that we are only worthy or successful when we reach certain benchmarks. In doing so, we lose sight of the deeper truth that our worth is intrinsic, independent of any external accomplishment. The 2025 mindset encourages you to shift your focus inward, to see that your journey is valuable not because of where it leads, but because of how you engage with it. This shift requires a reimagining of what it means to succeed. True success is not about checking items off a list or achieving a predefined goal. It is about living in alignment with your values, your passions, and your purpose. It is about finding meaning in the everyday moments, in the relationships you nurture, the challenges you overcome, and the growth you experience. Success is not a destination, it is a state of being, a way of approaching life with openness, curiosity, and courage. As you walk the path of 2025, you may encounter moments of doubt, confusion, or frustration. These moments are not signs that you are lost, they are opportunities for reflection and recalibration. Just as a traveler may pause to check their bearings, you too must take time to reflect on where you are and where you are headed. These pauses are not interruptions to your journey, they are an integral part of it. They remind you to reconnect with your intentions, to honor your progress, and to trust that even the detours have their purpose. The journey of becoming also requires resilience, the ability to adapt, to persevere, and to grow stronger through adversity. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulty or suppressing emotion, it is about facing challenges with grace and using them as stepping stones for growth. Every setback, every disappointment, every moment of uncertainty is an invitation to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you. It is through these moments that you develop the strength, wisdom, and perspective needed to navigate the complexities of life. And to cultivate resilience, it is essential to embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the courage to be open, to risk failure, and to trust in the process of growth. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you open the door to connection, creativity, and transformation. You acknowledge that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. Growth is not about having everything figured out, it is about being willing to learn, to adapt, and to evolve. Another essential aspect of the 2025 mindset is gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is present, from what could be to what already is. It is a practice of seeing the beauty, abundance, and possibility that exist in every moment, no matter how small or ordinary they may seem. Gratitude grounds you in the present, reminding you that the journey itself is a gift. It helps you appreciate not just the milestones, but the steps, the lessons, and the experiences that shape your path. At its core, the 2025 mindset is an invitation to live fully, to engage with life as it is rather than as you wish it to be. It is about trusting that you are on the right path, even when the way forward is unclear. It is about finding meaning in the journey, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the moments of joy and connection that make life rich and meaningful. As you step into 2025, remember that you are not defined by the goals you achieve or the obstacles you face. You are defined by the way you show up, by your willingness to grow, to learn, and to engage with life wholeheartedly. To trust the path you are on, even when it feels uncertain. Trust that every experience, every choice, and every step is shaping you into the person you are meant to become. And most importantly, trust that the journey itself is enough. The 2025 mindset is not about reaching a perfect destination. It is about walking the path with presence, purpose, and an open heart. It is about knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, and that the unfolding of your life is a beautiful, intricate process. When you embrace this mindset, you step into the flow of life with grace and courage, ready to face whatever comes your way. You are not just moving through 2025, you are becoming, evolving, and thriving in every moment. We often mistake kindness for virtue, believing that being nice is the highest expression of our character. But what if I told you that nice is not always good? Kindness without integrity can be a mask for fear, a habit of compliance that leaves us diminished. This isn't about rejecting compassion. It's about rejecting the lie that your value depends on how agreeable you are. Today I invite you to shift your perspective. Stop being nice to men or to anyone out of obligation or insecurity. Instead, embrace a higher path, one rooted in authenticity, self-respect, and the courage to lead your life on your terms. Let's explore what that looks like. As you read this page, notice that nothing is inverted on this page except the personality of the right person. That is, yourself. Kindness is often celebrated as a universal virtue, a quality that defines goodness in human interactions. We are taught from a young age that being nice is the key to being liked, respected, and valued. But what happens when kindness is stripped of its integrity? When it is used not as a reflection of inner strength, but as a tool to gain approval or avoid conflict? In such moments, kindness becomes a shadow of its true self, a performance, hollow and unsustainable. And here lies the problem. Too often we confuse being nice with being good, as though they are one and the same. The very truth that niceness, as most practice it, is not goodness. It is a mask, an effort to smooth the waters, to be agreeable even when it compromises our true feelings or desires. It is a survival tactic, born not out of strength but out of fear, the fear of rejection, the fear of confrontation, the fear of not being enough. And when we act from fear, we diminish ourselves. We give others the power to dictate our behavior, and in doing so, we lose touch with the integrity that makes kindness truly meaningful. True kindness is not about pleasing others. It is about standing firmly in your truth, while respecting the humanity of those around you. It does not shy away from discomfort or bend to the will of others to avoid it. Instead, it emerges from a place of wholeness, from the understanding that your worth is not tied to how much you give or how agreeable you can be. To be truly kind, you must first be kind to yourself. And this requires integrity, a steadfast commitment to your own values and boundaries. If this is absent, if your heart is unattractive, if you find yourself chastened, when you prioritize being nice above all else, you inadvertently teach others that your needs, desires, and even your identity are secondary. You become a mirror for their expectations rather than a light of your own. This is not an act of kindness, it is an act of self-betrayal. And here is the hard truth. People do not respect what they sense is inauthentic. They may enjoy the comfort your niceness provides, but they will not be moved by it, inspired by it, or changed by it. So what is the alternative? It begins with a shift in perspective, a recognition that your worth is inherent, not something you must earn through pleasing others. Stop seeking approval as though it is a currency that validates your existence. Instead, turn inward and ask yourself, what do I stand for? What do I want? What do I need? And most importantly, am I living in alignment with those truths? When you lead with integrity, your kindness transforms. It is no longer about making others comfortable or avoiding conflict. It becomes a force of nature, grounded in self-respect and authenticity. It says, "I see you and I value you, but I will not sacrifice myself to meet your expectations." This kind of kindness is powerful because it demands reciprocity. It invites others to rise to meet you, to engage with you as an equal, rather than taking your niceness for granted. So understand this. Being authentically kind does not mean being harsh, cold, or dismissive. It means being clear, direct, and unafraid to express your truth. It means saying no when you need to, setting boundaries without guilt, and honoring your own needs as much as you honor the needs of others. In doing so, you model what it means to live with integrity, and you inspire others to do the same. True strength is not found in how agreeable you can be, but in how fully you can embody your truth. Stop being nice out of obligation, and start being real out of love. Love for yourself and for the world you want to help create. When you act from this place, your kindness is no longer a performance. It becomes a gift, freely given and deeply rooted in the truth of who you are. And that, more than anything, is what this world truly needs. Thank you. We live in a world where we are often taught to seek permission to be ourselves. From an early age, we internalize the idea that our worth is measured by how much others approve of us, how seamlessly we fit into their expectations, and how often we say yes to the roles they assign us. This silent conditioning leads us to shrink ourselves, to compromise our own truths in exchange for the fleeting security of being liked. But what if this very act of seeking permission is what robs us of the respect we so deeply desire? When you look at the relationships around you, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, you'll notice a pattern. Those who stand tall in their convictions, who unapologetically own their space, seem to garner a level of respect that goes beyond admiration. They are not waiting for someone else to validate their existence or to tell them what is acceptable. They operate from a place of inner authority, a deep-seated knowing that they have the right to take up space and the courage to do so. Apply this principle to whatever it is that you do, and the courage to do so. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. When you embody your inner authority, you are not claiming superiority over anyone. Rather, you are refusing to place anyone above yourself. You stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you are enough. You stop asking for permission to express your needs, to state your boundaries, or to be fully present as yourself. And in doing so, you unlock a power that is magnetic, undeniable, and transformative. But stepping into this space requires courage. It is not easy to unlearn the habits of self-doubt, the reflexive need to apologize for your existence, or the instinct to overcompensate for fear of being misunderstood. These patterns are deeply ingrained, reinforced by a society that often rewards compliance over authenticity. Yet the cost of staying in this place is far greater than the discomfort of breaking free. To remain in the cycle of seeking permission is to abandon your own potential, to live as a shadow of the person you were meant to be. When you stop asking for permission, something remarkable happens. You begin to respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, others cannot help but follow suit. Respect is not something you demand, it is something you embody. It is communicated not through words, but through presence, through the way you carry yourself, the energy you bring into a room, and the boundaries you uphold without apology. This does not mean you will never face resistance. In fact, stepping into your inner authority often challenges the status quo, and not everyone will respond kindly. There will be those who mistake your self-assuredness for arrogance, those who feel threatened by your refusal to conform, and those who will test your boundaries in an attempt to undermine them. But their reactions are not your responsibility. End quote. Your responsibility is to yourself, to remain grounded in your truth, and to honor the life you are here to live. This is not about selfishness, it is about wholeness. When you lead your life from a place of inner authority, you are not only serving yourself, you are also creating space for others to do the same. You become an example of what is possible, a reminder that living authentically is not only a right but a gift. You show others that they too can step into their power, break free from the need for approval, and create lives that are meaningful and fulfilling. The truth is, you do not need anyone's permission to be yourself. You do not need validation to speak your mind, to pursue your dreams, or to live in alignment with your values. All you need is the courage to claim what is already yours, the freedom to exist fully, unapologetically, and with unwavering integrity. When you stop asking for permission, you reclaim the life that has always been waiting for you. And in that reclamation, you find not only your power, but your peace. Relationships thrive not when one person bends to the will of the other, but when both stand together as equals, rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Yet, many of us fall into the trap of pleasing others, mistaking it for a foundation of harmony. We mold ourselves to fit their expectations, saying what we think they want to hear, doing what we believe will keep the peace, and giving parts of ourselves away in the hope of building stronger connections. But what we often fail to realize is that this approach doesn't lead to deeper intimacy or respect. Instead, it creates imbalance, fostering relationships that are transactional rather than transformative. True connection is not built on one-sided effort or the abandonment of self. It is built on the principle of partnership, a meeting of two whole individuals who come together not to complete each other, but to complement and challenge each other in meaningful ways. This requires a shift from the mindset of pleasing to one of partnering. The difference is subtle yet profound. The difference is subtle yet profound. So pleasing is about compliance. It seeks to avoid conflict and maintain surface-level harmony, often at the expense of authenticity. Partnering, on the other hand, is about collaboration. It invites both people to engage fully, to bring their true selves to the table, and to navigate the complexities of life together with honesty and respect. To move from pleasing to partnering, you must first understand that your value in any relationship does not come from how well you meet someone else's expectations. Your value comes from the unique perspective, energy, and presence you bring. It is not your job to make someone else happy or comfortable at the expense of your own well-being. Instead, your role is to show up as your authentic self, to contribute your truth, and to create space for others to do the same. This is the essence of partnership. Two people choosing to walk side by side, each maintaining their individuality while supporting the shared journey. Footnote. This shift requires courage because it demands vulnerability. It means being honest about your needs, desires, and boundaries, even when it feels easier to stay silent or go along with what others want. It means risking the discomfort of confrontation to stand in your truth. And it means accepting that not everyone will be willing or able to meet you in this place of authenticity. Humility. But the beauty of this approach is that it naturally filters out the connections that are not meant for you, leaving space for those that are. When you engage in relationships as a partner rather than a pleaser, something remarkable happens. You create an environment where respect and reciprocity flourish. By honoring your own needs, you encourage others to do the same. By showing up authentically, you invite others to be authentic as well. This doesn't mean every interaction will be smooth or easy, but it does mean that the connections you build will be real, grounded in mutual understanding rather than superficial niceties. It's important to remember that partnering does not mean being inflexible or unwilling to compromise. Compromise is an essential part of any healthy relationship, but it should never come at the expense of your core values or sense of self. True partnership involves finding solutions that honor both people's needs, creating a balance that allows the relationship to grow without diminishing either individual. The irony of trying to please others is that it often has the opposite effect. People sense when you are not being genuine, and over time they lose respect for the version of you that is merely a reflection of their expectations. In contrast, when you show up as a partner who's strong in your convictions, clear in your boundaries, and open in your communication, you command a different kind of respect. You become someone who is not just pleasant to be around, but someone who inspires, challenges, and uplifts those you connect with. The sacredness of life lies in the delineation of the right name. Ultimately, shifting from pleasing to partnering is not just about transforming your relationships, it's about transforming yourself. It's about recognizing that your worth is not tied to how much you give or how agreeable you can be. It's about stepping into the fullness of who you are and inviting others to meet you there. And in doing so, you create the kind of relationships that are not only fulfilling, but also deeply empowering. The most liberating thing you can do in life is to stop apologizing for who you are and start embracing yourself fully, without reservation. Yet many of us have been conditioned to believe that in order to be accepted, we must dilute ourselves, tone down our voices, and hide the parts of us that might seem too bold, too different, or too much. We learn to edit ourselves, to fit neatly into the mold of what others expect or desire. We learn to edit ourselves, to fit neatly into the mold of what others expect or desire. But in doing so, we deny the world and ourselves the gift of our authenticity. Being unapologetically yourself is not an act of defiance, but an act of self-respect. It is a declaration that you will no longer trade pieces of your identity for approval. You recognize that your value is not dependent on how well you conform to others' expectations, but on how fully you inhabit your truth. This shift in perspective requires courage, as it often means stepping away from the comfort of validation and into the unknown territory of self-acceptance. But what you gain in return is far greater. A life that feels aligned, free, and deeply meaningful. The world doesn't need more people who try to blend in. It needs individuals who are willing to stand out. It needs people who are willing to say, "This is who I am," without flinching in the face of judgment or rejection. And here's the paradox. The more unapologetically you embrace your true self, the more you inspire others to do the same. Authenticity is contagious. Authenticity is contagious. It gives others permission to lower their masks, to show up as they are, and to engage in connections that are real and transformative. But living unapologetically does not mean being reckless or inconsiderate. It does not mean bulldozing over others' feelings or refusing to acknowledge the impact of your actions. Rather, it means being rooted in your truth while remaining open to growth. It's about finding the delicate balance between honoring yourself and honoring the humanity of those around you. It's about standing firm in your values while remaining humble enough to learn, to adapt, and to evolve. When you live unapologetically, you stop trying to please everyone, and as a result, you stop exhausting yourself. The truth is, no matter how hard you try, you will never be able to satisfy everyone's expectations. Someone will always find something to criticize, something to dislike, something they wish you would change. Chasing universal approval is a losing game, and the more you play it, the more disconnected you become from who you really are. End of section 4. End of section 4. The moment you let go of this need to please, you reclaim your energy, your time, and your peace of mind. This isn't just about individual freedom, it's about the ripple effect your authenticity creates. When you live unapologetically, you show others what's possible. You become a living example of what it means to embrace imperfection, to take risks, and to trust in your own worth. You demonstrate that being true to yourself is not only fulfilling, but also empowering. People are drawn to that kind of energy because it's rare and real. They might not always understand it, but they will respect it. Of course, this path is not without its challenges. Being unapologetically yourself means you will face criticism. Some people will misunderstand you, and others may try to tear you down. But these moments are not reasons to retreat. They are opportunities to grow stronger. Every time you stand firm in your truth, you reinforce your belief in your own worth. You learn that external opinions, while sometimes loud, do not define you. The most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. When you nurture that relationship, when you treat yourself with kindness, patience, and respect, you build a foundation that no outside force can shake. From this foundation you can live unapologetically, not because you are fearless, but because you are grounded in the knowledge that you are enough, just as you are. To be unapologetically yourself is to be free. It is to wake up each day and know that you are living not for the approval of others, but for the truth of who you are. It is to trust that the right people will see you, value you, and choose to walk alongside you, not because you have bent yourself to fit their mold, but because you have inspired them by simply being you. And that, in the end, is the most powerful thing you can offer to the world. There is a quiet power in living a life driven by vision rather than compliance. Far too often we fall into the trap of doing what is expected, of following a script written by others, believing that success, happiness, or love will come from sticking to the rules. But in this quest to fit into predefined roles, we lose sight of our own desires, our own purpose, and our own unique way of being in the world. To lead with vision means stepping off the well-worn path and choosing to create a life that reflects not what others want for you, but what you truly want for yourself. This shift begins with clarity. You must take the time to look inward and ask yourself, what do I want my life to feel like? What lights me up, inspires me, and fills me with purpose? These questions are not trivial. They are foundational. Without this inner compass, it is all too easy to be swept along by the current of societal expectations, chasing goals that do not belong to you, or living a life that feels hollow despite its outward success. Vision gives you direction. It gives you something to work toward that is meaningful and deeply personal. Living with vision also requires courage because it means prioritizing what matters to you, even when it goes against the grain. It means saying no to opportunities, relationships, or expectations that do not align with your values or your goals. This is not an easy thing to do. The pressure to conform can be overwhelming, and the fear of disappointing others is real. But the cost of compliance, the loss of your authentic self, is far greater. When you live in alignment with your vision, you might face criticism, but you will also find freedom. In freedom, this freedom comes from knowing that your choices are your own. You are no longer living reactively, responding to the demands and desires of others. Instead, you are living proactively, guided by a clear sense of purpose. This doesn't mean you will never compromise or adjust course, but it does mean that every decision you make will be intentional. You will no longer give away your power by defaulting to what is easiest or most acceptable to others. Instead, you will stand in your truth, even when it is challenging or unpopular. When you lead with vision, you inspire others, not because you are trying to impress them, but because authenticity is inherently magnetic. People are drawn to those who are clear, passionate, and unapologetic about their path. They sense the strength and conviction that come from living in alignment with your values, and they often feel inspired to examine their own lives as a result. This is the ripple effect of leading with vision. Your courage to live authentically creates space for others to do the same. But this journey is not without its obstacles. There will be times when the vision feels distant or uncertain, when the path ahead seems unclear and doubt begins to creep in. These moments are inevitable, but they are also opportunities. They invite you to reconnect with your purpose, to refine your vision, and to remind yourself why you started in the first place. Progress is rarely linear, but every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you are building. You see, leading with vision also requires resilience. Not everyone will understand your choices, and some may even try to undermine your efforts. But these reactions are not about you. They are reflections of others' fears, insecurities, or unwillingness to question their own paths. Your job is not to convince them or to gain their approval. Your job is to stay true to your vision and to trust that those who are meant to walk alongside you will see and appreciate the authenticity you bring to the table. Ultimately, living with vision is about reclaiming your power. It is about stepping out of the passive role of compliance and into the active role of creator. It is about recognizing that your life is your own to shape, and that the greatest gift you can give yourself and the world is to fully embrace that responsibility. When you lead with vision, you create a life that feels like your own. You wake up with purpose, move through your days with intention, and rest at night with the peace of knowing that you are living in alignment with your truth. And in doing so, you show others what is possible, that a life of meaning, authenticity, and fulfillment is not only attainable, but is the truest expression of what it means to be alive.